So we are here in Barcelona. We are Barcelona. We made it in a little after midnight last night. Slept until, well, I slept until 8.
Yeah, sleeping in? What's that?
Yeah, alright. Well, we basically just woke up and decided to wander, and we made it to this park. It's got La Hibernacle, which is like a conservatory. It's got some nice things. It's got the Castello de Tres Dragons.
A nice botanical garden
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
greenhouse.
See?
It's really nice.
Nice
It's
park. Oh, there's a zoo somewhere back there.
over there. It's a really nice sunny day, which we're not used to for the past few months.
A little windy, as you can tell from my
Great
hair going everywhere.
I had my hood on, but I felt a little too mean girls there with sunglasses and a hoodie.
Yeah, my hair is a bit long right now, so it's not gonna stay down. But it's not usually quite like this. But we're trying to figure out exactly what to do that isn't like all the normal stuff, because my parents are gonna come in a couple of days and we'll do all the touristy stuff with them.
Sometimes it's nice just to wander around. So,
Yeah.
like, this park is gorgeous.
Might wander over to the beach. Check out
And
the beach.
do a general coastal walk, as we do.
Yeah, we like to walk along the coast. You might have realized. One of the amazing things in Barcelona is Park Güell, which was endeavor from a rich man to build a bunch of really nice houses together in a natural environment, a pseudo-natural environment that they built. And it's really nice.
It gives you a good sample of Gaudi's style of architecture, since that's what most of the buildings are. Unfortunately, the actual house where he lived for a while was closed. It's usually a museum.
Yeah, there aren't too many houses still there to show you what like the rich people's houses would have looked like, because the whole project was sort of a failure and ultimately sold back to, or donated back to, the city of Barcelona. But because it was mostly designed by Gaudi, you get a lot of meandering paths, no straight lines anywhere, basically.
We went to Sagrada Familia, a project that will probably never be finished.
Yeah, it's been in works since like 1904 or something like that, very long time. And they think it's going to be done in about 6 years, but they've thought that for the last 10 years or so.
But the cathedral is gorgeous. So many intricate details. I love that they're trying to theme it around nature, so the way the light shines in. Some parts are supposed to be kind of like a forest, some kind of like by the water. It's very cool.
Yeah, and they also have like the different seasons, and we also went all the way up to the tower, which allowed you to look down and see like the different fruits. They have all these fruits representing different seasons and different, like they had a bunch of grapes and a bunch of wheat to represent the blood and the body of Christ, and a lot of symbolism there. We took a day trip that went to several different places, but it started in Montserrat, which is a monastery basically in the mountains, and it's just really nice up there. And it looked like there was some really nice hiking, but since we were on a day bus trip, we didn't get to do that.
When we first got to Montserrat, we all walked over to the church that's there. The main part of our trip to Montserrat was checking out the monastery, the church within. Though on a different trip, I think that I'd like to actually hike up the mountain.
They also had a really cool funicular and zipper train that takes you to the top, which looked interesting as well. Another big highlight there was the mel y mato, which was the honey with this sheep's cheese that they make in the mountain. It was really good.
The next stop on our bus trip was Girona. It's a very cute little town, and while we were there, we accidentally walked on the city walls. I mean, we like walking on city walls, but that wasn't the intent when we started.
Right, it ended up being quite a long walk along the walls. We got a little lost, but it's a really nice medieval town. It has the Jewish quarter and a lot of history about how the Jews were, forcefully evacuated. But I would definitely go back to Girona. It was really cute. They had a river going through it, very colorful houses, and they had these Arab baths that you could go down into, and it's a lot like the Roman baths, but I guess built by Arabs instead of Romans. Our final stop was Tossa de Mar, which is a small village on Costa Brava. It also has like a castle, and it was very nice.
They really planned the timing for these really well. So we got there around sunset. So while we were there, we got some lovely sunset shots.
They also had a nice statue of Ava Gardner. Apparently, they really revere her there because she came there to film and just really liked it, and apparently came back more times. So we did go to the Picasso Museum. It had a pretty cool exhibit on how he painted over a lot of his old paintings with new paintings, and how they were able to use various types of cameras like infrared and things like that to find the old paintings underneath the new paintings without disturbing the outer painting. On our last full day in Barcelona, we went to Montjuïc, which comes from the words for Mount Judaic, because it used to be a Jewish cemetery.
Yeah, but now there's historical remains of what used to be a castle, or, well, a fort, which is what most castles are.
Yeah, it's basically a giant fortress now that's been built up over the ages. It was a really nice walk up there. We hiked back down, but we took the gondola up, the funicular and the gondola. It was very nice views from the top. You could see like all of Barcelona, which was very cool. And then on the way down, we saw a Charlie Chaplin statue, which was fun. And then we just walked around the port, enjoying Barcelona for our final day.
Our first night in Madrid, we met up with my dad and uncle, who happened to be traveling in Spain at the same time as us, but not with us. So we organized so we would meet well in a city that we were both going to.
Then we went out to dinner, had a bunch of tapas that we shared amongst the table. It was a very nice time. And the next day we walked through El Retiro Park.
El Retiro Park would definitely be worth another visit. We were only in Madrid for a couple of the days of our trip.
Yeah, and I would go back for the tapas as well.
We went to El Prado, which is a wonderful art museum, but unfortunately you can't take any pictures there. So, unpictured, just mentioned.
The next day, we decided to do a walking tour. We met up with our guide at the Plaza del Sol, and we walked through over to the Plaza Mayor, where we saw some horses.
Yeah, walking tours are a great introduction to the city, no matter like where you are.
Horses were there because there was an ambassador visiting, apparently from Turkey, and there's like a tradition that the horses have to walk from the Royal Palace over through the Plaza Mayor and then back. And so we did end up seeing the ambassador.
Yeah, but we didn't end up seeing the Royal Palace because of all of this.
Right, because the king was visiting and he stays at the Royal Palace, so we couldn't go into the Royal Palace because of the visit.
That evening, we went to see Palacio de Cibeles, which is a beautiful, huge building, which also has an exhibit. We started on the rooftop.
We took the train from Madrid to Seville, and in Seville, we got in later in the evening, so we went out for drinks and dinner, and we tried churros finally with the chocolate. It was very good. And then we called it a night.
Yeah, so our real tour of Seville started the next day with a walking tour, which ended up kind of being a private walking tour. Unintentionally, it was just a rainy day, and our tour wasn't booked by anybody else.
But it was really well done, and it ended in the Plaza de España, which was a really cool plaza with little mosaics for each area of Spain that was built for the World's Fair like 100 years ago. After the walking tour, we kind of scrambled because we didn't have anything planned, but we knew there was things we wanted to see, like the Alcazar and the cathedral. So when we were doing lunch, we were busy trying to book tickets for these things.
The Alcazar was a must-see if you're ever in Seville.
It was built by the Muslims, and now it's royal apartments above it. But it's got tons of intricate detail in all the different rooms. A lot of courtyards that are very cool looking.
And beautiful gardens. I mean, like, huge. And there's a whole section on, like, orange trees.
Oh, hundreds of orange trees just throughout the gardens. Very cool. I mean, that's just true of Seville. Seville has thousands of orange trees, but just very, very gorgeous.
Yep.
Then, following the Alcazar, we went over to the cathedral, which has the really tall bell tower, which also used to be a mosque in that same spot, but the mosque was torn down / fell down in an earthquake, depending on who you ask.
The tower is the only part that is the surviving part of what the mosque was.
Right, so the tower's still there. We went up to the top of the tower, which was all ramps to get to the top, no stairs, and they say that's because the guy who used to call out for prayers in the Muslim faith, in Islam, he had to go up to the tower 5 times a day, and he used to just take a donkey. So he put in ramps instead of stairs, so he could ride a donkey to the top. I don't know if that's true, but I like the story. But anyway, from the top, you get really nice views all of Seville, which is very cool.
Yeah, and that evening, we also went to a flamenco show.
The flamenco show is very interesting. We were sat front row, right next to the stage, and let me tell you, that woman, when she pounds her feet with those heels, the whole stage is shaking, and it's loud. Also, we got tapas and a drink with our entry, which I really enjoyed as well. We rented a car in Seville, and my mom graciously drove us throughout Spain for the next few days. We didn't really have strong plans on where to go. We had a couple of ideas. We definitely wanted to see a few places, but the rental car agent recommended Zahara de la Sierra, which is a little town in the mountains, so we went there.
Yeah, beautiful views there. Thank you to the rental person. It's and it was a gorgeous day, so very sunny, and you could see pretty far into the mountains.
Yeah, clear, sunny day. The town itself was very cute. We had lunch on a patio that overlooked the mountains and the water, El Lago, and we walked up through the town. There was some ruins at the top and just lots of cobblestone streets. It was a really cute town. It didn't seem like there was a ton to do there, but like for a relaxation visit, I think that would be a great place.
Worth it if you're just wandering.
Mm-hmm. So then we headed over to Ronda.
Yeah, we actually saw Ronda from below and above. So there's this cool little bridge, which was the purpose of going over to Ronda.
Right, and we put that bridge in the GPS and ended up driving to the lookout point and then walking up and realizing you could have walked down there from the town center. So the drive was a little more harrowing than we needed with the very narrow road and stuff, but we survived. And shout out to my mom for actually doing the driving there. But then we walked through Ronda, which was another cute town. It was much bigger than Zahara de la Sierra.
Mm-hmm. And then we headed to Granada.
In Granada, the must-see thing is Alhambra. So we definitely had that on our plans. But first, we had to find a place to stay. And Lara found a hotel that was in a 17th century monastery.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. It had a courtyard that obviously we didn't see the first night because we got into Granada pretty late. And
we managed to find a restaurant right next door that was had those heaters in a little tent, and it was a nice little restaurant. After a good night's sleep in the monastery, we walked around Granada on our way to Alhambra, and it was amazing. So we walked through the Muslim quarter, which is like the oldest surviving Muslim neighborhood.
The Alhambra's in it.
Which the Alhambra's up, like sort of above it. But the Alhambra is a massive, massive construct that with just so many things and details. The Nasrid Palace was the crown jewel, with just so much intricate. Like it's got that. Whenever you see these old Islamic buildings, it's just these very intricate carvings and details because they couldn't depict animals or people in any of the art. So they just had a lot of geometric shapes and stuff that was really nice. There's also other buildings like King Charles Palace, because he wanted a palace right next to the Nasrid Palace. Not as cool, really.
But
But
the interesting thing, he never actually stayed there.
then the gardens were also very nice. A lot of water works go through it, and the water actually runs through the buildings as well and down the staircases, which is just very cool touches. You could tell that they really, really respected water, because I guess they came from a desert.
Before leaving Granada, we also checked out the chapel. They always have some cool architecture in these types of buildings.
Yeah, they had the Royal Chapel, which is where the king and queen were buried after the fact. They were actually buried somewhere else, and then when their son finished the Royal Chapel, he had their bodies moved there.
Our last day with the rental car, we went to Cordoba, and the big thing that we went to see in Cordoba was the Mezquita, which was a mosque at first, and then it was turned into a cathedral, but the mosque elements are still there. After exploring the Mezquita, we also just walked around Cordoba, which is a really cute town.
Yeah, it's a cute place. And following that, we didn't really plan we were going to sleep that night, and we did have to return the rental car. We drove back to Seville and just booked a place there. The next day was mostly a travel day. We took the high-speed train from Seville to Barcelona, which took most of the day. This guy was skateboarding along, and this dog just jumped in front of him, and he basically had to jump off of his skateboard to not run over the dog, and the dog took his skateboard and started skating around with it.